Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Take the Black Live. I am Kayla Canarum, here with Dan Selcke, your winteriscoming.net editor-in-chief, bringing us all the latest news from Game of Thrones Season 8. Got some good stuff today.
We do. It's like breaking as I'm speaking, Kayla. There's lots of new news coming in. It really kind of is. Like, I made the outline for the show, and then after I sent it, a bunch of new stuff came in. So we're going to be on the edge of danger today as we wing through some stuff.
It's going to be a surprise for me, too.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks. Hey, Kathleen. Hey, Emma. Kathleen says, hey from sunny, breezy Orlando.
Ooh.
Very nice.
I'm going to Florida in a few weeks. I'm so excited.
It'll be very, very nice. But for now, winter is coming, so we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
And really, there is some big stuff happening. We're going to get into some spoilers, some interesting stuff. The big news right now is Seville, is Italica, is lots of cast members gathering at the ruins of the Dragon Pit in King's Landing. You remember the Dragon Pit?
Yep.
Where they all met last year. And I remember last year, there was a huge gathering of cast members at this site. Like, lots of them. Like more than ever before. Like
right.
Cersei and Davos and
Tyrion.
And Jaime and Tyrion and Jon Snow and Daenerys. They were all getting here just today. Like, in the last 45 minutes, it's broken.
Hot off the press.
It really is. They're all coming back, by the way. Hello, Renee from Cali. Hi, Julie. Hi, Dan. Everybody watching. Okay, so I'll start off with something that broke like yesterday, which I planned. You know that the Game of Thrones fan base is endlessly resourceful.
Right, yes.
And if you post anything, they will read into it. I love this story of how they found out that Maisie Williams, who plays Arya, was in Seville for the Dragon Pit
This
scene.
is crazy. This is next level. This is next level.
So Maisie Williams' boyfriend posted an Instagram post of her wearing sunglasses outside a hotel called the Alfonso 13th. And you think that'd be safe, right? You were wrong. What happened, Kayla?
They could recognize the hotel in the reflection of her sunglasses.
I love it. I love how in-depth
these
the
fans
get.
stop at nothing.
I mean, it's not. I guess it's not. It's not like they went through her credit score or anything, or her personal belongings.
I feel like a lot of buildings look like that over there, though. How do you know?
Because the fans know, because they're so good, that they all stayed at that hotel last year in Seville, so they recognize it.
Do you think
they're on top of it?
Do you think she almost did it on purpose?
I doubt it. I don't know. I think there's a level when you're like, can I just post a picture of myself, just an innocent little
Let me live.
Don't show the back. They can live. But since that happened, Julie Davies loves the new set and noticed that you had something. Sorry, I missed it. Oh, wine last week.
Oh, right, yes.
Which we did, yes, to celebrate it. And we'll have more.
Love
By the way,
some
did
wine.
you know that they're coming out with a Game of Thrones whiskey brand?
Love this even more because I love whiskey and wine are my two favorite.
Me too.
Drinks of choice. So, Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker. The White Walker. Get it? Because Johnny Walker, White Walker. It's very funny. But that means
clever.
there's beer, whiskey, and wine. So they kind of have it all covered now.
They do.
Game of Thrones. You could just get drunk, hard liquor, wine, whatever your poison is. There's a Game of Thrones thing for it.
What's next? Tequila?
Yeah, I guess they can go through all the hard liquors. Triple sec, just get them all. And then get some Game of Thrones mixers. Anyway, so Maisie Williams in Seville, filming at the Dragon Pit. And then after that, today, literally, just everything broke loose. Okay.
We're losing our minds over here.
I didn't write it all down because it came out so quickly, but some of the people there are... who else is there? Okay, Sophie Turner. So Sansa's there.
Well, her body doubles.
No, then she showed up.
Oh, then she... Okay. Well, we assumed she was there if her body doubles were there, but no one saw her in the flesh up until...
The body doubles for Sophie Turner and Peter Dinklage both showed up.
By the way, her one body double, they are twins.
I mean, that is the idea, right?
Yes, but it's very spot on, like scary spot on.
Yeah, it works. Which is fun. A picture of them taking it with fans. So that was kind of the first clue that something's going to happen in Seville. But, I mean, I thought that would be the big news. Since then, they've all come crowding out. So Sophie Turner showed up for realsies.
For realsies.
Peter Dinklage, so Tyrion. Nicholas Coster-Waldau, who plays Jaime, has a picture of him being mobbed in a car like he's Elvis or the Beatles driving through a throng of people, which is fun.
That's fun.
That is kind of fun. And he kind of looks like he's like, oh my God, get this over with. Which you understand.
Maisie.
Maisie Williams definitely there. We got John Bradley, Sam. We got Joe Dempsey, who's Gendry. We got, I think, Hannah Murray, who's Gilly. We got...
Brienne.
Yes, Gwendolyn Christie there as well. Liam Cunningham, who is Davos. We got Isaac Hempstead Wright. I said that who is Bran. We got
Jorah Mormont.
I don't
Did you
think we've
say
seen
him
him
yet?
yet.
I'm running out of fingers.
Conleth Hill. Keep it up, though. We're at 11.
Okay, 11.
Who's Varys?
I'll use my toes.
This is important. Who's Varys? We got David Benioff and Dan Weiss, the two showrunners, are there as well. And then we had some tricky ones, which I'm going to say this now. So in addition to all these actual cast members who are showing up...
Is this the newest part that I don't know about?
I mean, all this is pretty new.
Oh, okay.
Like, listen to this. So, in addition to all those cast members, a couple of different, unexpected ones showed up who I think they're trying to play with us. Tom Wallace-Shaha, who plays Jaqen Hagar, recall him?
Yes, the faceless man?
Yeah, Arya's faceless man teacher. He's there, and he's taking pictures with people out in the open like it's no big thing.
Wait, let's do a refresher. Where did we last leave off with him?
Arya left the House of Black and White to go back to Westeros and just said, I'm done, and he let her go after killing
her little
rival.
Trainer.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So Jaqen Hagar is back in Westeros at the Dragon Pit.
Interesting.
Is it interesting? Well, it is interesting, yes. And Vladimir Furdik, who plays the Night King, is just there hanging out. Okay.
That's a lot happening.
You know what that tells me? This is one of those things where...
They're just throwing us off.
Where they have all these cast members here. I'm sure some of them are there to film scenes of the Dragon Pit. And then they're like, it'll be fun.
Let's mess with people.
Let's mess. Which have they done before? This is nothing new to them. I think Jaqen Hagar and the Night King being there are definitely plants for kicks. Also, again, I don't have the pictures, but they're just out in the open, just like taking selfies with people, which they never do.
So it's almost too obvious.
It's almost too obvious.
Is what you're saying.
Is
Okay.
I think. But I mean, they are throwing it all at the wall.
Is it possible that they have scenes, but not just at the Dragon Pit, or is that the only reason they would be there?
Well, I mean, if they're in Seville, what they film in Seville is the Dragon Pit stuff. Like that's what's there. Like it's the ruins nearby. Like you stay in Seville, which is like an actual city, and then you drive to the ruins of Italica, like a half hour away, which is a ruin, doesn't have a hotel in it, and then you film at the Dragon Pit location. So if they're there, that's what they're doing.
And you suspect this is like possibly the final scene?
That's what I kind of think. I think, yeah, that's my theory.
So also, who's not there?
Oh, that is intriguing. Jon's not there, and
Cersei,
Daenerys aren't there.
Daenerys.
And Cersei's not there. I guess those are the big ones.
I feel like we're missing somebody.
Tormund Giantsbane isn't there. Maybe we're missing some people. Lyanna Mormont isn't there. A lot of characters on this damn show. But the three big ones who aren't there are Kit Harington, Emilia Clarke, and who's the last one?
Cersei.
And Lena Headey.
Headey.
They could still show up. We never know. But yeah, it makes sense to me that if we're going to film something at the Dragon Pit, which can't be an action scene because it's too historically important and they wouldn't allow them to by law, and we have all these characters from different factions coming together to talk, and David Benioff and Dan Weiss are there, and they're directing the finale, the final episode. That's what it says to me. I think we're witnessing the gathering of people to film one of the final scenes or the last episode with a couple others thrown in for kicks.
What does the absence of those other three mean?
It means they all die. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Maybe they're attending Kit Harington's wedding this weekend.
They're all not. Maybe that's where it is. Scotland or something. Oh, really quick, let's look at the comments, some of these, because if you guys have thoughts, I'd love to hear them. What is going on here? I'm a little flabbergasted. I think we're supposed to be. Hi, Take the Black. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Renee. What con is going to? Ask Kathleen. Good. Glad you asked, Kathleen. Con of Thrones.
Yes. The
last weekend in May. Going to appear on 3 panels. I'm just going to say them. I think it's fine now.
Yes, tell us.
Okay. I'm going to appear on 3 panels of Con of Thrones. It's going to be the future of how Game of Thrones has changed television. It's going to be fun. The spin-off panel, where we just wildly speculate about what the spin-offs could be about in Game of Thrones. You know, Game of Thrones spin-offs.
Yep.
Each choose one. And then the most high-minded one, homosexuality in Westeros and how it's treated in the books and the show. We're going to get deep into intertextual analysis. Maybe. I don't know. Or we'll just do a lot of snapping. We'll see.
Okay, going back to the spinoffs, are you going to be talking about, because don't they have some that are like, these are definitely maybe going to happen?
No, they do not. We still don't know what the spinoffs
So
are
it could
going
be
to be about.
anything at this point
It could
still.
be anything.
I thought they had a few that they were like narrowing it down to, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, they are narrowing it down, but we don't know what they are.
Okay.
We have no idea what they're narrowing down.
Okay, so you're literally just like totally speculating.
Totally speculating based on what would be fun.
That'll be fun.
That'll be a lot of fun. I was there last year on the panels where you just kind of threw stuff at the wall and see what stuck were a lot of fun. Because just fans, they participate and they jump in, and I jumped in, and it was a good time.
Very good, Dan. We're so proud of you.
There's a lot going on. Anybody have any thoughts about... it is at Houston, Texas, at a hotel, the name which escapes me. But it's in Icon of Thrones. Just Google it and you'll find it. Houston, Texas, last weekend in May. Should be a really good time. Tickets are still available, maybe. Anybody have any more thoughts about this huge gathering of cast members in Seville at the Dragon Pit? What it could mean? What they're filming? Who isn't there? Who is there? Do you guys think Jack and Hagar and the Night King are there just to throw us off? Or are they actually going to be part of it? I don't know.
Is it Houston or Dallas?
Houston.
Okay.
Dallas. It's Dallas.
Because the first time we talked about it, I think we said Dallas, so I just wanted to clarify.
I'm a little off today, just because
There's a lot happening. Dan has been
so
frazzled.
much broke right before this show.
Still processing
I
it.
had to kind of get into them, but it's Dallas.
Okay.
I know because I plan to go see the the grassy knoll and the book depository.
We already had this conversation. That's why I was like, just checking.
Okay. So that's all happening. Yes, Kenny says they are definitely messing with us like when Shay was in costume. I totally agree. Remember at one point they brought the actress who played Shay on, Tyrion's old girlfriend, put her in costume.
Yes.
She never showed up.
Yep.
They do this kind of thing. It's fun.
Very
it's a good time.
sneaky.
Okay, I think we can move on. I feel like I'm missing something, but whatever. We're going to have to move on. Okay. Christian thinks it might be Sansa's coronation at the pit. That'd be cool.
I'm all for that.
Sansa, crowned queen of Westeros. I'd work with
Whoa.
that. If Jon and Daenerys aren't there, which could imply that they're both, maybe, I don't know. Someone's got to step up, and Cersei obviously not there because, like,
How crazy would that be, taking down the 3 most prominent characters?
I could get behind it. I think that'd be kind of ballsy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I could. I mean, Cersei's a dead ringer so far as or dead meat so far as I'm concerned. But,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
And I figured Jon or Daenerys would die. Again, we don't know for sure anything. If they killed both of them, I would say good show. Because it would be gutsy. It'd be a place I wouldn't really expect them to fully go. But if they do, the Hound's not there either.
I love the Hound.
I love the Hound too. I mean, and again, we don't know what it means. Maybe it's an in-between scene. Maybe they're off doing other things. We're not sure. But those are the facts, and let's move on.
Okay, let's do it.
To a bit of a lighter topic real quick. Emilia Clarke, she's not at Seville, but she is at the Met Gala wearing this stunning ensemble.
Girlfriend worked it.
Do you think so?
I do.
Did you like her... Okay, the theme of the Met Gala this year was heavenly bodies, fashion, and the Catholic imagination. I don't know what that means.
People went all out.
Yeah, a lot of people look good. And she looked really good. She looks like, regal.
Everyone was saying that she was being crowned queen.
I can see it. It's very, very opulent. And again, very royal with
She's used to wearing
the
elegant,
patterning.
intricate outfits.
At this point, yeah, she might pull it off more than a lot of people can. So yeah.
She was
looked
one of my
great.
favorite looks.
Anybody else?
J-Lo. I actually really liked Kim Kardashian's dress. It was like solid gold.
Cool.
J-Lo always slays. IMO.
I agree, although I didn't see what she wore. Anyway, Clarke has been also teased a bit about what's going to happen in the ending of Game of Thrones, kind of echoing some things that other people had said. Told the Herald Sun about the ending of Game of Thrones. People will scream, people will say, that's exactly what I wanted, and some people will go, huh? My mom, probably. Which is interesting because Maisie Williams also said something very similar. She kind of said that it's you're either going to love it or you hate it, the ending. And killing Jon Snow and Daenerys would be a love it or hate it kind of thing.
That is true. I just hope it's something that makes sense.
Yes.
I don't like
do
it when
too.
they just do something completely off the rails just for the sake of dramatic effect.
I'm totally there with you for that. I mean, we can only hope. I mean, Game of Thrones is the kind of show, it doesn't need to do something for dramatic effect, right? I mean...
It already has dramatic effect, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
If you're this popular, like, we're going to watch. Like, you don't need to, like, pull off a trick to get us to watch. You have the audience. But I hope so, too. I hope they don't do anything kind of just out of left field just to be out of left field.
Right.
I hope they take it to the natural conclusion, and that the natural conclusion is exciting all by itself.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
So we'll hope out for that. And finally, before we move on to our next segment, a bit of news about the prequels. We were talking about them earlier.
Yep.
It's been very tight-lipped about it. No one's been talking. Because I'm sure they're under, contract, under penalty of death for keeping their mouth shut.
Penalty of death.
Networks can't
Off with their
execute
heads.
people. But Brian Helgeland, who is the Oscar-winning writer of the screenplay for L.A. Confidential. Did you ever see it?
No.
I didn't either, but he won an Oscar for it. Good for him.
When was that on? Like,
The 90s?
that's what I thought.
The mid-90s, Kim Basinger.
I'd probably like it.
Me too. It looks good.
Maybe it's on Netflix.
Josh Hill likes it on his head. Anyway, he wrote that, and he's writing one of the prequel scripts. He talked to the Indian Express about it and said that there are a lot of ways to go wrong, only a few ways to get it right. But I think the intention is to stay geographically in that world, but tell a completely different story from a different point of view. So it's set in Westeros. All of them are. That's good. But he also said that it could be a story that happens 100 years after the story that you're watching now or in the past, which contrasts what we've heard. We've heard they're all going to be prequels, but maybe one's like in the future.
Ooh. Do you have a preference on what it is?
Not particularly. I haven't given it a whole lot of thought whether I watch something like after the show. I guess it'd be more exciting if you set it in the future because we don't already know what happens. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly, yes.
I mean,
obviously, a prequel is leading up to what we've already seen.
I mean,
so.
yeah, and you can tell a story that we haven't heard a lot about. You can tell new characters who,
You can go in more
lived
directions,
and,
I feel like.
lived and laughed and loved and died, and we didn't really hear about their stories. But still, we'll know the basic arc of it. But if you go in the future, anything's possible.
Anything is possible. With you, Dan.
Okay, I feel like this is a bit of a sprint.
Are you okay? Do you need a breather?
I can't have one, Kayla. That's the...
Water break?
I'd love a water break, but I don't need a water break. I'm fine. Thanks, everybody, for watching that part of it. Kathleen says, ooh, she wanted to see dragons on Emilia Clarke's dress. That'd be kind of fun.
Why didn't she do that? That's a great point.
That
I would have
dress
loved.
looked really good, though.
It did. But like a little nod to her character, I think would have been fun.
I agree. I mean, I feel like it kind of was nodding to her character. Because that looked like a regal, royal kind of medievalish thing.
Good point.
And I mean, I don't know. I think it might have been a little bit on the nose. But I could totally see it, too. Why not? Dragons in a dress. Apparently, it was based on a statue of the Virgin Mary in Sicily.
Ooh, they all came like repping hard.
It's a fun theme. It's
It
like
is.
a
I thought it was
Baroque
cool.
kind of
Kind of reminded me of
good
like
excuse.
Romeo and Juliet.
Totally, or
In a
Shakespeare.
weird way. Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of reminded me of Game of
Shakespeare.
Thrones, honestly.
Yeah, that too.
Like a lot of folk were compared to it.
Except for Tom Brady.
What did he wear?
He looked like a magician or a, what were people calling him? I don't know.
Fair enough.
Google it.
All right.
Let us know what you
Anyway,
think.
Any other thoughts, Kayla, before we bring on Josh Hill?
This was fun, Dan. I
It
know
was
you're
good.
going to give
It
us
was a
all
fun time.
the latest news on
The
winteriscoming.net.
second we're done, I got to get back and start writing more stuff.
Time never stops for Dan.
Time never stops for Dan. Hashtag. Okay. Thank you very much, Kayla.
Thank
We
you.
now bring on Josh Hill for our continuing segment, A Song of Dan and Josh. I've read the Song of Ice and Fire novels multiple times. Josh Hill, fan-sided editor extraordinaire, has never read them, although he has seen the show. We're walking through them chapter by chapter. What's
Hello, everybody.
that? Analyzing them.
Look at that.
And by the way, if any of this appeals to you, we are now available, Take the Black Live, in podcast form. You can go to iTunes or Google Play, listen to us in the car, at the gym, wherever it pleases you. Okay, hello, Josh. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Dan. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? That's always the question I want to know.
Oh, Julie says hi.
Hello,
so
Julie.
This new charm offensive of yours is really paying off.
Be more charming. That was the notes I was given. Don't
So-
be so mean.
From more people. Anyway, okay. You're a fan of LA Confidential?
I was. I liked it, yeah.
Good. I hope Brian Helgeland, do you know how to say his name?
Hegland, I think it is?
Whatever.
I don't know.
Can bring us that quality when and if his Game of Thrones prequel debuts on HBO.
Interesting fun fact about him. You ever see the movie Payback with Mel Gibson? If anybody's seen the movie Payback with Mel Gibson, it's directed by Mel Gibson, but it was originally directed by this guy.
Really?
And Mel Gibson fired him halfway through and was like, I've got it from here. And so there's actually two cuts of the movie. There's his, and then there's Mel Gibson one, which was released theatrically. But so this guy has gone from being fired by winning an Academy Award or being nominated for one, getting fired by Mel Gibson, and now he's Game of Thrones.
Working on Game of Thrones.
That's your career
prequels.
arc. Peaks and valleys. Don't get discouraged.
Cool.
That's the truth.
Anybody who Mel Gibson fires must be interesting, so look forward to that. All right, let's get into the discussion for today. We read 2 chapters of Game of Thrones, Tyrion 6 and Eddard 11. All right, I am a little frazzled today. I'm going to admit it. Things are a little weird. So, Tyrion 6. This is the chapter where Tyrion and Bronn are walking through the mountains of the Vale.
Yep.
After being kicked out of the Eyrie, after Bronn wins the trial by combat for Tyrion, and they're trying to make their way back to civilization, basically.
Stay away from the mountain folk.
Yeah.
The mountain
What goes
clan.
on in this chapter, and what struck you about it?
Well, it was more of bonding between Tyrion and Bronn.
was a lot of it, yeah.
Like Tyrion kind of, there was a part in where he was kind of basically saying Bronn was a lower being and everything like that.
I wrote that part down.
Did you?
Because I mean, it started out like Tyrion just goes up and straight up says to Bronn, "You are scum, Bronn.
Yeah.
Duty, honor, friendship. What's that to you?" Like they're very upfront with their places.
Yeah.
In this relationship and in society in general. What do you think of that? I mean, is that good strategy to call the person who fought for you and is now escorting through the Vale scum?
I think that's more of like the Lannister coming out in Tyrion. Yeah, where he's definitely, it's a class thing. Like you said, it's like he's lived this life where he's better than everybody the rest of his life, or his entire life, except his own family, because he kind of, in this chapter 2, almost has a bitterness of his own elitism. He's like, he's talking down to Bronn, but at the same point, he's like, my own family doesn't, and he tells a story about his father, and it's like being cruel to him, and it's like, on the one hand, you have Tyrion, who is the Lannister, and he's talking down to people, and he knows his place, he's an elitist, and on the other side, you have a sympathetic Tyrion, who understands somebody who he's described as scum, because he's like, to my family, I'm scum. I'm the one that they didn't want.
Yeah,
so
I see it.
He's kind of relating himself to Bronn in the same vein as talking down to him and being like, just remember your place in this whole partnership. But at the same time, he's like, I see we're kind of more even than I would like to admit, maybe.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I think the way I put it is that Tyrion kind of is comfortable with scum.
It's true.
he gets along with that element. He doesn't have a problem with it. He's funny. I mean, like you said, his family treats him as scum, or at least his father and sister do. So he sympathizes with people like that. And I think it's really important. Well, the other side of it is that, I mean, Tyrion says these things to Bronn, but Bronn stays.
Yeah.
Like, Bronn has a moment where he's like, I should leave you here with your fool's fire. If I took your horse, I'd have twice the chance to make it through the mountains. Like, that's all true. He could leave Tyrion to die and make it out. Why doesn't Bronn go?
Well, they're both noble. They're both noble characters, I think. Well, in that scum attracting scum, like they very much identify with one another. I think Tyrion, like you said, they're comfortable. Tyrion's comfortable with Bronn, and Bronn is comfortable with Tyrion. There's kind of like that respect going. Like Bronn very much fought to save Tyrion. Mostly, we talked about this last week because he wanted to kill something.
No, I think we talked about it last week. He wanted that. I think, and they bring it up this week. He fought because Tyrion's rich.
Yeah, well, that's not necessarily like he's fighting out of the goodness of his heart. Right. But at the same time, I think it's like there's something there. Like I don't think that was the only reason. You know, Han Solo saves Princess Leia in Star Wars. It's not because, you know, we're told it's because she's rich, but at the same time, it's because he's not a bad guy, even though he does play this same kind of character who's on the edge a little bit. So I think that Tyrion and Bronn, this bonding that they have, I really enjoy it because they are very similar.
I think that's a charitable reading of Bronn a bit, though. Like, I don't think he's a Han Solo type.
No, he's not Han Solo. The situation is similar, not the characters are similar.
I see it. There's some similarities, but I mean, I think they go over it here. Like, Tyrion basically says the line from the show, too. Like, what do you want, Bronn? Do you want gold? Do you want land? You will have it all from me as long as I'm alive, not a second longer. The gold stops when I do. So Tyrion knows Bronn is scum in a way. He's a sellsword. He sells a sword. He's a mercenary. He is a mercenary person as occupation and like kind of who he is. But he knows that Bronn wants gold. And he knows that, look, I will give you what you want, but you have to do what I say.
Gotta play by the rules.
And Bronn could leave, but the way I read it is Bronn could leave, but if he does, I mean, what are the chances he runs into another rich dwarf he can fight to save the life of? Like, Bronn's hoping this is a gravy train for him.
Yeah, it's true.
But I do agree with you that they do get along. There is a kinship to them, even if I think at this point, and really throughout most of their relationship, it's mostly a lot of what holds them together is money.
Yeah.
And the prospect of Bronn getting money from Tyrion. And then Tyrion can use Bronn because he can do things he can't. Like, what I like is that they complement each other. So
yeah,
Tyrion...
Compliment's good, yeah.
Yeah, they do. Like, you know, Bronn obviously does tons of things Tyrion can't. Like, kill people. And, like, fight well.
Yeah.
And, you know, start fires and hunt game. Like, Tyrion can't do any of that. He's useless in, like, a physical situation. But Tyrion kind of has more foresight. Like, Bronn wants to ride hard through the Vale to get out of it as quickly as possible. But Tyrion's like, you know what? They're going to find us no matter what we do. Let's hunker down. Let's wait for them.
Barter for our lives.
And then they barter.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, what happens? I mean...
Joining forces. Like
exactly. They join
Tyrion,
up.
the smart... the compliment's a good way. I think maybe that was where that was escaping me a little bit. Complimenting each other is an attraction to this relationship for me, and seeing it unfold like that, because it is, you know, on the one hand you've got the brutish Bronn, and then on the other hand you have little sly Tyrion.
There you go, good word, sly, lion fox. So yeah, I think they work well together, but I do think we should underline the monetary aspect of the relationship. It's really, really important, especially to Bronn.
Yeah.
I mean, that does play into class though again, because again, this is a class where if you're at the top, you're at the top, and if you're not, like, there's no like class mobility here. It's like if you're at the bottom, if you find someone like Tyrion Draven, you hang on for dear life, and you try to get where you can. And as we know in the show, Bronn does. He rises up. Yeah. Which is a social climber. What did you make of that long description of Tyrion kind of recounting this story about his first wife, where he marries this girl when he's like 13, has sex with her for the first time, loses virginity to her, and then it ends horribly when it's revealed that, what was the story? That Tywin just hired the girl to pretend she was being accosted by men, and then Tyrion could save her. Yeah. Because he thought, like, it's time you had a woman, time you became a man. And then, oh God, and then because Tywin wanted Tyrion to lose virginity, he didn't want him to marry anybody, a commoner, again, that class thing. Yeah. So then Tywin had all his guards rape the girl, and then had Tyrion rape her, and then sent her away. Yeah. What do you make of that?
It was a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot in like a big block of text.
It was, and it was also heavy as far as like what it was doing to what it did to Tyrion. Like a lot of that, I think, was rooted in Tywin's insecurities about his own son, and being like, you know, it's the old like. He doesn't want him to marry. He wants him to lose his virginity. So he wants him to become a man, but he doesn't want to have like a trail that leads back to Tyrion. It's kind of like this old thing where it's like, you know, this old machismo, this old idea of masculinity of being like, you have to be a man's man. And I think that Tywin is a little upset that he's got an imp for a son. So he wants him to be this idea that he has in his head of what he thinks his son should be versus what his son will be, or wants to be, and it's kind of all messed together. Yeah. And then I think the situation too is almost a metaphor for that, all those feelings, because it's like this messy, gross, disgusting mess of a situation that's just nothing good comes of it. It's just gross. Everybody feels well, maybe not Tywin, but everybody else kind of feels a little bit weird and gross and awful about it, especially Tyrion. So yeah, it was definitely a lot to take in. Yeah, I'm interested in, you know, you should have been in Bronn's head for this chapter, being in a Bronn's head, hearing this story from Tyrion.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Bronn's head's like. We never get a chapter from him. I mean, certainly would go away to explaining why a son would shoot his father on the toilet to death.
Yeah.
Like if you do that kind of thing to him, I mean, that's going to come back around eventually.
It's terrifying. It's horrible.
It's awful. It also goes to that kind of tender heart Tyrion has under everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he fell in love with the first girl he slept with and then married her even though she was a commoner. You know, he was 13. He was impetuous. That's the kind of thing. He has a side of him where he is kind of spontaneous and fun and tender.
Yeah.
But obviously he's papered over it a lot.
Yeah.
In these days and hangs out with scum like Bronn instead. Anyway, they get out of the Vale. They get a new cadre of people, although he did promise them to arm them. So it's not like they just joined because for fun.
No.
Like, I guess been out of it.
But Tyrion knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
So.
And we'll see where that goes. By the way, and please remember the Tysha story, the wife story, because it's on the show, but they drop it.
Huh.
It is in the show.
Yeah.
That they have this whole, it happens a little differently in the show, but he tells that whole story. They bring it up, and then it's kind of forgotten. In the books, it's more consistent. It'll come up more often, and then it'll play a bigger part in some key moments later on down the line.
Bookmark it.
So bookmark it, Tysha. All right. Next up. Eddard 11. Ned Stark sits on the Iron Throne and gives some proclamations. What happened to this chapter?
Ever so briefly.
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Ned sits on the throne. I think that was...
That's fun.
That was kind of significant. Robert is out hunting. His old ill-fated hunting trip. We all know what happens
we do.
After that.
And while he's out hunting, the Mountain goes and pillages a bunch of, villages in the Riverlands that are supposed to be protected by the king.
Yeah.
And he's just, I'm away.
Yeah.
And Ned has to deal with kind of the fallout from that.
Which is par for the course, too. Like, everything that we've learned about Robert and his relationship with Ned is I don't even know why Ned is friends with Robert. Like, I don't know what happened with them to where they're like, there's this bond, because Robert's very awful to Ned, up to the point where it's like he doesn't defend him in front of his wife. And that kind of leads down this road of like Ned's gonna get killed and all this kind of stuff. He never has Ned's back because it's never convenient to Robert to have his back. Ned sitting on the throne was nice because it's kind of like this conclusion to his story in a way to me, because we know what happens. We know he dies after this.
Right.
So this is kind of, we're wondering who's gonna sit on the throne, who's gonna rule. And the idea traditionally would be Ned's our main character. He's eventually going to sit on the throne. That's how it's all going to end. And here he is on the throne, and things aren't going well. He can't handle it. It's too much. And then eventually, he can't handle it. But like, what I took away from it is that he's on the throne, and we know, at least I know, with the foresight of he's going to die.
Sure.
That's significant because it kind of throws everything in a blender, and it's like, this is how it's supposed to go. Guess what? It's not going to happen that way. So,
yeah, I agree.
And I kind of liked that. And Ned got his moment, so he sat on the throne.
He sat on the throne. I'm not sure he liked it.
No.
In fact, he talks a lot, Martin, in this chapter about the Iron Throne.
Yep.
I mean, the Iron Throne, maybe, do you think it's the biggest symbol that came out of this show and this world? I feel like you think of Game of Thrones, I mean, one of the first images you have is the Iron Throne.
Swords and all that. And
I mean, it's iconic, it's interesting, it's fun. He describes it a lot here. I think it's important symbolically. An ironwork monstrosity of spikes and jagged edges and grotesquely twisted metal. Interestingly, though, little side note, we all know what the Iron Throne looks like on the show. George R.R. Martin has said that it's not quite what he would. I mean, he understands that they can't build what he would envision because it's too grand, because this is a TV show and there are like budgets and limits and like normal stuff. But he identified this illustration by Mark Simonetti as close to his vision of it. Check that thing out.
Wow. You couldn't build that once and then just keep it? Like, this show has a multi-million-dollar budget. Build it once and keep it.
Remember, season 1, though, it wasn't a giant phenomenon yet. I don't know. That's pretty complicated.
That is.
Do you think they could build that?
No.
I mean, of course they could, but
they could, but not with the budget that they had. I do like the scaled down version that we see on the show.
Yeah.
This would be iconic too, I think. But
absolutely.
I feel like what they ended up with is much more easy to digest.
And also easy. Let's not talk about this. Like, easy to replicate, easy to like bring along to cons and fairs and advertising opportunities and get your picture taken on the Iron Throne. Like, you're not going to have that at a premiere or something.
But because when
it makes an impression.
When they're describing the throne, when George R.R. Martin's describing the throne and everything that went into it and why it is the way that it is, I'm picturing the one that's on the show, and
Yeah,
it's
me too.
still lined up with that image of
yeah.
what it should actually look like, because it's like all of the swords of the dead and all that, and you shouldn't be able to sit on it comfortably. And this, I was thinking, when he said you're not supposed to be able to sit on it comfortably, I was like, oh, maybe they like put some swords like sticking up a little bit so you're a little uncomfortable. And that is just like, yeah, that's uncomfortable to sit on.
Yeah,
you have to
like raise it, and also
up
it's
it
like
and everything. And
yeah, it's like swords all around you. Like the one on the show looks like you can sit on it without too much trouble.
yeah, I was like, maybe there's like a couple of stones in there. It makes it a little hard to sit on. That's like
He
a
also
monstrosity.
said, this hunched black beast made of razor edges and barbs and ribbons of sharp metal, a chair that could kill a man, and had, if the stories could be believed. I mean, the whole point of like the it's supposed to be uncomfortable to sit on thing, I think is supposed to be also a bit of a metaphor that it's supposed to be hard to be a king.
Yeah.
Like you're not supposed to do it like Robert does it, where
Heavy
you
is
just kind
the,
of
the
exactly.
crown, that whole thing. Yeah.
Yes, this is like sharp is the chair that you sit on and make proclamations. Like Robert doesn't, he can't handle it.
Yeah.
He can't handle the chair or the kingship. He runs off and hunts and leaves the hard decisions to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Ned is making the hard decisions, and in a way, he does get cut by the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
That's kind of what kills him. Like he makes these decisions and they come back to bite him.
Yeah.
What decision, let's just talk about really briefly before we wrap it up, like what decisions he does make in this chapter. So these villagers come to him and they say the mountains ransacked our village,
Yep.
ransacked our holdfast, burned our crops, peasant problems. We want redress.
Yeah.
This is Tywin Lannister doing this when you want to go attack Tywin.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Ned decides, okay, you can go do it. Sends people to go, I'm going to send some soldiers to go hunt down the mountain, which is a direct, assault on the Lannisters. That's on Tywin Lannister. The mountain works Tywin Lannister. And basically, he's declaring war, pretty much, on Tywin. I mean, I'm sure he hopes it'll wrap up quickly. It doesn't. But that's what he's doing. Is that the right call? Because there are some alternatives offered. Like Pycelle says, let's wait for the king to get back before we make a decision.
Yeah.
Maybe he could have gone to Tywin directly instead of going to arrest and execute the person who did this to see if he could calm things down. But Ned, again, he took like the right thing to do sort of route, where this man has ransacked this place. Let's go arrest this guy and bring him to justice and kill him.
Yeah, and
So
that's
the right call.
that's why Ned would have never made a good king, because unfortunately he made the right call. Like somebody's
Unfortunately, he made
ransacking.
the right call. That's good.
Yeah, somebody's ransacking. You got to go out. You got to go get him. Got to bring some justice, and that's not what a king should do in this situation. I think the right move would have been to go to Tywin first and be like, what the hell, man? Like, how to negotiate a little bit and then make action from there. Whereas,
Punish your own guy, maybe? He could offer it.
or give him the option to say, look, I know that this is happening. I'm putting this in your court to take care of. If you don't, then I'm going to step in as the king.
That's a good call.
Kind
to
of,
get some
yeah.
plausible deniability thing going.
Yeah, so whereas like Ned was doing the noble thing, he was doing the heroic thing where it's like the peasants are in trouble, the peasants need the king, I'm going to go save them and save the day, which ultimately is the wrong call. Or at least maybe not ultimately the wrong call, but he jumped to it sooner than he should have. He should have gone through a different route to get there. Waiting until Robert came back would have been the worst decision, because then nothing would have happened. Robert would have delegated. And
well, I mean, probably.
But it would that would have been the opposite of Ned, because Ned, whereas Robert always passes his problems off to somebody else, Ned would never pass his problems off to Robert. And I think that he approached this as, I'm the interim king, so this is my
Robert did
problem.
leave him in charge. It's not like...
Yeah, so it's his problem. He's not going to wait for somebody to come back and be like, hey, this thing went wrong while you were gone. The house lit on fire. I was going to call 911, but, your name's on the deed, so I figured you should be the one to do it. So and that's Ned's flaw. It's his heroic flaw, I think. And I wasn't surprised by his decision, but it was a little tragic, because I was like...
It is, because you know where it's going. I mean, again,
going.
I think it's important to think about, though, that it does come off as the right thing to do, and it should.
Yeah.
So, again, it's why the last bit is such a gut punch and a surprise.
Yeah.
Because he has played by the book normally. And if Robert came back, I think Ned would be afraid that Cersei would lean on him or something.
Yeah.
And also that I think he doesn't trust Robert by this point. Like, too much has happened. But as we know, Robert will come back on the edge of death. We'll get to that in the very near future.
In the next chapter.
I haven't checked which chapters yet, because this was a busy
I think
day.
there's a Sansa chapter next.
Oh, good.
I was thumbing ahead.
Yes. Okay, we got Sansa. Let's see how long that goes on for. Okay, and then another Eddard, because we just cannot stop. All right. How about, these are both, briefish. How about the next Sansa chapter and then the next Eddard chapter?
All right.
All right. We will thank you, Josh. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you. Always love coming on here.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Julie, Karen, Rick,
Julie, Karen, Rick,
and everybody else. We'll be back here next week at Wednesday, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, here in the Winter's Coming Facebook page. And if you miss it between now and then, head to iTunes, head to Google Play, download us in podcast form on iTunes, Google Play. And thanks a lot for watching, and see you next week.